And at this time, if I could please get a motion to return from executive session per NMSA 10-15-1H-2.
I make a motion to return from executive session per NMSA 10-15-1H-2. Where limited personnel matters were discussed and no decisions were made.
I'll second.
Roll call vote on item L. Point of order. Before that, the vote, we need to, somebody needs to disclose.
Who was in the
in
meeting?
the meeting.
Oh, that's right. Those present in the meeting were Mayor Pro Tem Howe, Mayor Lindsay, Councilor Crane, Councilor Weeks, Councilor Humbert, and Chief of Police Overth.
Okay. Roll call vote for item L, return from executive session. Mr. Howell,
Aye.
Mr. Humbert,
Aye.
Mr. Weeks,
Aye.
Mr. Crane,
Aye.
pass.
This time, we'll turn over to Brett Weir for a manager's report.
Mayor, Councilman, first of all, I'd let kind of give you an update, and I didn't get today's numbers, but do you have them, Director Epler? On the water meters?
Yes, update on the installation of the new water meters. End of last week, they said they're topping 500 that they've installed. Just prior to the council meeting today, they hit 700. So that's how many meters we have installed.
So it looks like we're well on our way. I'm not aware of any, I did have, we had early on some questions from the public about who are these people in my yard? Director Epler had the vendor go and put some identification on their vehicles and so on. So we haven't had any additional complaints, and we haven't had any complaints about water outage except for from the mayor's wife. She wasn't aware of what was going on and when they were changing the meter out in her building, so, but so, to me, that's a great indication that things are going smooth. It will slow down a little bit when they get to the meters that aren't working, only because, right now they're following certain paths of meters, so they're doing them consecutively, and when we start trying to address the 300 that aren't working, it's gonna be a little more hopping around, so, but we feel pretty confident that, that they'll be able to get things done if they keep this pace up, in October. So that's looking really good and promising. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is we've initiated a PR campaign, started today in relation to the airport. And we are going to try and garner public support for the transfer of the airport from the county to the. We will be bringing a resolution to the council on the 24th meeting to approve a resolution requesting the transfer of the airport from the county. That same day, or actually prior to our meeting, the county will be presented a resolution in support, requesting their support for transfer of the airport to the village. And with that, we'll also, Mayor Lindsay is working on a business plan for the airport that we will provide to the county commissioners so that they can see that we're sincere and our desire to take over the airport and to expand its usage for the betterment of the county. Yes,
And
sir.
is that a no cost transfer?
Well, that's not, we don't know the answer to that yet. We don't know the answer to that yet. That is our goal.
Or we should get paid.
We should. So, of course, it's a long process to transfer it. The resolution is just the beginning. It's not a definitive transfer. There's gonna be MOUs, there's gonna be approval from NMDOT, approval from FAA. So it's gonna be a lengthy process for that transfer to take place. The resolutions are just so that we're all on board and if, before we go spend a bunch of money on legal counsel. We want the county to, you know, say, yes, we're in favor of this. We just today, the finance department submitted the initial trial balance for the 2024 audit. Which is technically, we were supposed to do it on Friday, but you know how things go, we got it done today. And that's a good indication that we should have our audit completed on time this year. Which will resolve one of the audit findings that we've had that's been reoccurring for the last 4 years. And has been noted on several grant applications that we've had as a negative attribute to the village. So we'll hopefully get that behind us. And just kudos to the finance team for doing that work. It was a lot of hard work and they got it done. You will be seeing a few more bars coming your way. There are some things that were unforeseen, primarily in some of the service areas, especially in legal counsel, where we just rolled over, budgeted the number that we spent last year. And it's obvious at this point that legal bills, because of some of the lawsuits going on, the majority of them stem from things that occurred prior to this administration. But those lawsuits are gonna cost significant legal bills. And so I just want you to be aware that anticipate those bars are coming. And again, there's a few more items. Oh, some other good news. In the preparation of the trial balance for the auditors, we were reviewing it together, myself, Heather, and Kathy, and we noticed an anomaly in the Go Bond fund that you actually spend the Go Bond money to do things. It's something the auditors didn't catch. So we dug into it, and we figured out that all of our property tax revenue for the last 3 years, since 2021, have been going into the Go Bond fund. Now, we do use property tax to pay for the Go Bond, but that is an improper destination for property tax. It should go into the general fund. And then from the general fund, you make the payment against Go Bond debt, but they had it going into the Go Bond fund. Along with that was another $2 million in cash that had been commingled with the funds we received in the accounting system for Go Bond expenditure. Fortunately, when we were doing our budgeting, we used Jolie Culhan's spreadsheets on the Y. It's a big joke, but internal joke. It's on the Y drive to do our current year budgeting. So this is really found money. So once that transaction, that adjustment is made, instead of having just over 10 million in cash, we'll actually have almost 13 million in cash.
Seems like we should just buy both properties. Yeah.
So anyhow, that's some good news that came out of the work that staff's been doing on prepping for the audit.
I think some investment for the private sector.
So even though we are coming to you with bars, which I don't like this early bars, it shows that we didn't do a good job of budgeting. I think it's not putting us in anything close to a cash sensitive position. And which brings me to the last item that I wanted to bring before you is the mayor and I met with InBank last week. We had a titillating discussion with them. As you know, at some point somewhere in, 21, in 21, we received an audit finding for having money in our bank account that was federal money and it was collecting interest, which is a no-no. You're not supposed to collect interest on federal money.
Federal grant,
I'm sorry,
federal grant money.
federal grant money, right? What it looks like, and I wasn't there, I don't wanna, say something that it isn't appropriate. But what they basically did was to eliminate that audit finding. They told Inbank, don't charge us interest on any of our money.
Don't pay us interest.
I mean, don't pay us interest. I think the auditor, when he did his report, he spoke to that issue and he made it like we were paying them to hold our money. That was the effect of that. And it was somewhere between 800 and $1 million a year of lost interest income that we had. So in net, it was approximately $3 million that. And even our auditor said, take the audit finding, get the money. If you can't break out your audit fund separately, you should have just kept the audit finding. It wasn't worth losing the money. That's what our current auditor said. So we went back, we negotiated with Inbank. We're back on a money market fund with all those funds. That is in excess of paying us in excess of 5% interest. And as part of that transaction, they paid us back to August 1st. And we received almost $80,000 on our first payment for interest. $80,000 for basically 3 weeks worth of interest.
Wow.
So that tells you we're off with the money we have now. We'll be making between $90,000 and $100,000 a month in interest. That the village wasn't previously making or hadn't made for the last 3 years. So,
It's currently in the money market. We are looking at strategies to spread it out into CDs and other investment. Obviously that they're legally allowed to, but we wanna come up with a good strategy, long-term and short-term, but to make sure we're maximizing those interest payments.
and just so you know, our holdings at Inbank right now are approximately $23 million. That's all I have.
Well, with that, this meeting is adjourned.